Hi, it's Rod, and this one's called My Christian Faith Testimony. So I'm around 59 years old now, and I started to develop faith in God when I was around 25, 26. So I'll try to explain how my faith has grown in God over these years. So I was born into sort of a non-Christian family, a very, very little faith in God family. And they would send me to something like nursery school, where the teacher there was a Sunday school teacher at a Baptist church who would invite me to go to her Sunday school at the Baptist church. So I got some faith building there at Sunday school. I would still say that that's like little faith Christians at a Baptist church. Then I started to go to public school and went to kindergarten, and my kindergarten teacher was a Baptist Sunday school teacher too. And she would teach Bible stories in public school kindergarten. And then my best friend that I started hanging around with in kindergarten was a Pentecostal minister's son. And so I was getting influence there, and I would go to church with him and be part of something like a Christian scout group there. And then he moved away, probably when I was younger, around 10 or something. And then I started hanging around with godless kids and not having much faith in God at all for a long period of time into my teenage years. And then I got to this point where I felt like there must be more to life than this. I felt very depressed and fearful as a young adult. I had lost my job through layoffs. I was getting into alcohol and drugs and immoral sex at the time, and thinking that that was the way to success or happiness. And then there was this one time where I had a sore lung, and I felt like I was dying. Every time I breathed, it was sore, like a cracked rib or something. And in my mind, I was thinking I had cancer and was going to die because I was still smoking cigarettes trying to quit them. And so there was this moment, like a prodigal son in a pig pen, when I was crying out to God, and I said something to him like, God, if you'll save me from this, I'll serve you. And then after that, I went to the doctors, and he said that it wasn't cancer and the pain went away. But then it's like God was honoring that prayer I prayed to him in my time of suffering. And I started to get more of an interest in looking into Christianity after that. Like God answering my prayer of desperation. And I'd start watching this show on TV with this local charismatic church pastor that was young like me, and he'd have young people on there for half an hour giving their testimonies on my public cable station. And then Jehovah's Witnesses would come to the door often and hand me these books with scriptures in them. And I'd start reading them about sin and the need to repent of sin. And then one day, about an 85-year-old woman by herself came to the door and gave me her testimony. And I thought, this is strange. She's happy. She's telling me I need Jesus. She says that maybe I should check her church out. And when she said that, it's like the Holy Spirit said, well, why don't you check out these churches, Rod? It's like I'd been going to the library and reading Christian books there, and they were saying God is love and Christians should be loving people. At the time, before I got saved, I was studying this guy who was like a psychological love teacher. He had a course in a college called Love 101 or something. And I started studying his teachers, and I was really caught up in this, wanting to understand more about love, but it was from a humanistic perspective. It wasn't a Christian perspective. But I really liked him, and I said, I'd like to be like that guy someday, like a love teacher. And so I decided to try to check out churches. The Holy Spirit was saying, well, why don't you try to check out churches? So the first church I went to was the one closest to me, a Baptist church. And they had some young guy that just got out of prison that wanted to give his testimony. And so I'm sitting there, and it's like the young guy's giving his testimony about his life being so horrible like mine is, ended up in jail, and God delivered him from it or something. And it spoke to me. It said, wow, I thought when I was watching him, why is this guy so honest about his problems or something in front of a group of people? And so I decided to check out some more churches after that. So I decided to check out the church where the guy was doing the TV show from. So I went to his church. And when I walked in there was all these young people, and they were all like hugging each other and really happy. And the pastor there was like a Christian music artist, so he could really sing, sort of like an Elvis Presley. And the music was pretty good. And it's not so much what the people were doing, it's what God was trying to do in my life. Trying to use Jehovah's Witnesses to teach me something. Trying to use old Baptist Sunday school teachers at the door to try to teach me something or pray for me. Trying to get this little faith that I got stronger through all these little experiences with Christians, and trying to understand why they believe what they believe, or what makes them more loving or happy people. And so I started going to this church. And I decided I wanted to talk to the pastor about a few things, so I went to see him in his office, and I told him that, like I was studying this psychological information about love, I said, well, I'm looking for love or something. And he said, you come to the right place. God is love. And he said, can I pray with you, Rod? And he reached across and grabbed my hands. I thought, what a man wants to hold my hands. And he prayed for me that to repeat after him about the sinner's prayer. Now, I don't know whether I got saved then, but at least it was me crying out and searching. You can pray something like a sinner's prayer, but you may not get saved through at that time. God may save you in the future sometime because you prayed that in the past. Just like when I prayed that sort of prodigal son in the pigpen prayer, if you save me, God, I'll serve you. I still didn't really understand who God was, or was serving him for quite a while after. So I kept going to that church, and then they kept having teachers come in from another school into our church. And this school was called Youth with a Mission. And they'd bring in some really powerful teachings about the Father heart of God and spiritual warfare and how to hear God's voice. And it was really helping me. I thought, wow, I really like these teachers from this other school. So there came an opportunity in my life where I was able to go to this school. And so I went to this Youth with a Mission school. And at the Youth with a Mission school, it's like 6 months, and you got 3 months of daily disciple making, and then 3 months of going out into a mission field and practicing what you learned in the 3 months before about God, or how to share God's truth with others. So at this mission school, it really opened my eyes to a bunch of things. They tried to teach you how to hear God's voice. It's like they would tell you to, well, take the Bible out in the woods somewhere and read John 15 and come write down what God tells you about it and come back and tell the rest of the group or something. They were trying to teach you how to hear God's voice yourself and share what you believe God was teaching you. His Holy Spirit way, with spiritual gifts. So it wasn't just reading about the book of Acts, it was trying to practice the book of Acts. So I did all this learning. We got into stuff like demon deliverance, and we got into healing the sick miraculously, and words of knowledge and spiritual gift sharing. these were people from all around the world, young people coming together for a mission trip, and they got really trained well in how to hear God's voice before they went out and did the mission work. So that was a really awesome experience. It was like a Book of Acts school for 6 months. So I went through that, and then when that was over, I came back to my hometown and tried to go back to my church that I started out in. And it was just like, my faith was like greater after coming off the mission trip. And I go back to a church that's like a charismatic church that meets once on Sunday or Wednesday, and they got a little bit of faith or something. And it's like when I first got saved, I thought, all I got to do is tell people that Jesus could save them and make them happy, and they'll want to get saved. That didn't work out that way. One of the reasons that I became a Christian was that I started to feel peace and joy as I obeyed God more, as I tried to believe in God more, study His Word, do what He was saying to do. But that didn't work out when you tried to get other people to experience that. It's like I said, I thought I'd just have to say, hey, God can make you happy, you want to get saved? And they say, no, we don't want to get saved. Or when you learn a lot of knowledge from the Bible and you've got these church leaders that don't want to listen to it or want to teach the opposite or something, they just don't want to do it, like the church in the Book of Acts or the Youth with a Mission Way. And so it's like you turn into sort of like a prophet. You get this certain kind of knowledge and experience, and then you're trying to tell people to obey God more, and they don't want to obey God more. Sort of like a Noah or a Isaiah. They were trying to teach people what God was saying to them to do, but they didn't want to do it. So I've just been like studying a lot of Christian books and letting God teach me truth since that missionary school many, many years ago, 30 years ago. And trying to be like somebody that is trying to teach people truth, but they don't seem to want to understand it. So I am now just trying to record some of my knowledge in video that I might share with people. They could look at it on a computer or a TV screen at home and learn something from it. So that's a bit about my Christian faith testimony.
This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread.